Hey, Shabbat Shalom, everybody. This is Miss Kaylee. I need to speak to your parents for just a minute. Can you get them for me? Thank you. Hey, parents. This week we'll be discussing the splitting of the sea and coming out of Egypt and Yahweh dealing with the Egyptians. It will be containing the information on the screen. This may not be suitable for all children. Please look at it and decide if it's right for you and your family. All right, let's get going with our lesson. Shabbat Shalom. Hey, Shabbat Shalom, everybody. I'm Miss Kaylee. I'm your host this week. So on our last lesson, we left off with the children of Israel finally getting to leave Egypt. By a mighty hand, Yahweh came in and fought their enemies and killed all the firstborns throughout all of Egypt, even in their animals. So he came in and basically had a war that they didn't have to fight and got rid of a whole lot of their enemies. And even their horses, that's a big deal for battle, right? So Yahweh did this amazing thing and made a way for the children of Israel to leave and finally get to go and be free and worship Him. That's pretty cool. Now that they've left, let's go find out what they're doing now. Let's go see if they're having fun and they're having a festival and having a big party and enjoying their time. Or let's see if something else is happening. Are you ready? Let's go find out.
Shema Israel, Yahweh Eloheinu, Yahweh Echad, Baruch Shem Kevod, Malchuto, Leolam Vayed. Amen, amen.
Thank you, Father, for this wonderful day that you've made. We thank you for Trained Up in Torah, and we thank you for this Shabbat that you brought us to. And we just pray that you bless us, keep us in your care, and lead us and guide us as we learn to walk in your ways and help us to honor and please you. We love you and thank you. In Yeshua's name we pray. Amen. Shabbat Shalom. I have a song I'd like to share with you. And the name of this song is What Will It Be Like? And this is a special song that I wrote for this chapter. And it's the chapter of the Red Sea parting. And I wrote it from the perspective of two little children, a boy and a girl, that may have been there at the time. And maybe just like you, that learned that they were going on a trip. And it was just an exciting time for them. So I hope you enjoy the song. And Shabbat Shalom.
A tale from long, long ago in a land so far away, of two little children, a boy and a girl who were very best friends, you could say. And they would run and they would play without a care in the world, and they would laugh and they would sing with shiny eyes and hearts of gold. Well, this boy and this girl were excited to learn they were taking a journey away with their fathers and mothers and all that they had to a land of delight, so they say. And so they ran along the way until they came to the water's edge, and with excitement in their eyes, they looked at each other and said, what will it be like when we reach the other side? What will it be like after so many years of living in Egypt? What will it be like when we finally arrive in the land we've heard so much about? Oh, I wonder what we'll see on the other side. sea, for a miracle took place. And the water parted and dry land appeared, and they started on their way, holding hands, not looking back. They took off full speed ahead, without a fear, without a doubt, but with a childlike faith instead. Well, the wilderness awaited them and their families for 40 years. And the promised land seemed so far away, even though it was very near. But at the end of all that time, they had a family of their own, and once again stood at the edge, looking across the water that shone, and said, what will it be like when we reach the other side? What will it be like after so many years of living in the desert? What will it be like when we finally arrive in the land we've heard so much about? Oh, I wonder what we'll see on the other side. Living on the other side. How our hearts long to stand side by side, hand in hand, at that river deep and wide, looking to the other side, singing, what will it be like when we reach the other side? What will it be like after so many years of living in this world? What will it be like when we finally arrive in the land we've heard so much about? Oh, I wonder what we'll see on the other side. Living 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 on the other side.
Shemoth, Exodus 14 and 15. And Yahweh spoke to Moshe, saying, Speak to the children of Israel, that they turn and camp before Pi Haroth, between Magal and the sea opposite Baal Zephon. Camp before it by the sea. For Pharaoh shall say to the children of Israel, They are entangled in the land, and the wilderness has closed them in. And I shall strengthen the heart of Pharaoh, and he shall pursue them. But I am to be esteemed through Pharaoh, and over all his army, and the Mitzrites shall know that I am Yahweh. And they did so. And it was reported to the Sovereign of Mitzrayim that the people fled, and the heart of Pharaoh and his servants were turned against the people. And they said, Why have we done this, that we have let Israel go from serving us? So he made the chariot ready, and took his people with him. And they took 600 choice chariots, and all the chariots of Mitzrayim, with officers over all of them. And Yahweh strengthened the heart of Pharaoh, Sovereign of Mitzrayim, and he pursued the children of Israel. But the children of Israel went out defiantly. And the Mitzrites pursued them, and all the horses and chariots of Pharaoh, and his horsemen, and his army, and overtook them, camping by the sea beside Pi Haroth, before Baal Zephon. And when Pharaoh drew near, the children of Israel lifted their eyes and saw the Mitzrites coming up after them, and they were greatly afraid. So the children of Israel cried out to Yahweh. And they said to Moshe, "Did you take us away to die in the wilderness, because there is no burial sites in Mitzrayim? What is this you have done to us, to bring us up out of Mitzrayim? Is this not the word that we spoke to you in Mitzrayim, saying, 'Leave us alone and let us serve the Mitzrayites'? For it would have been better for us to serve the Mitzrayites than to die in the wilderness." And Moshe said to the people, "Do not be afraid, stand still, and see the deliverance of Yahweh, which he does for you today. For the Mitzrayites whom you see today, you are never, never to see again. Yahweh does fight for you, and you keep silent." And Yahweh said to Moshe, "Why do you cry to me? Speak to the children of Israel, and let them go forward. And you, lift up your rod, and stretch out your hand over the sea and divide it, and let the children of Israel go on dry ground through the midst of the sea. And I, see, I am strengthening the hearts of the Mitzrayites, and they shall follow them. And I am to be esteemed through Pharaoh and over all his army, his chariots and his horsemen. And the Mitzrayites shall know that I am Yahweh, when I am esteemed through Pharaoh, his chariots and his horsemen." And the messenger of Elohim who went before the camp of Israel moved and went behind them, and the column of cloud went from before them and stood behind them, and came between the camp of the Mitzrayites and the camp of Israel. And it was a cloud in the darkness, and it gave light by night, and the one did not come near the other all the night. And Moshe stretched out his hand over the sea, and Yahweh caused the sea to go back by a strong east wind all that night, and it made the sea unto dry land, and the waters were divided. And the children of Israel went into the midst of the sea on dry ground, and the waters were a wall to them on their right and on their left. And the Mitzrayites pursued and went after them into the midst of the sea, all the horses of Pharaoh, his chariots and his horsemen. And it came to be in the morning watch that Yahweh looked down upon the army of the Mitzrayites through the column of fire and cloud, and he brought the army of the Mitzrayites into confusion. And he took off their chariot wheels, so that they drove them with difficulty. And the Mitzrayites said, "Let us flee from the face of Israel, for Yahweh fights for them against the Mitzrayites." Then Yahweh said to Moshe, "Stretch out your hand over the sea, and let the waters come back upon the Mitzrayites, on their chariots and on their horsemen." And Moshe stretched out his hand over the sea, and the sea returned to its usual flow at the break of day, and the Mitzrayites fleeing into it. Thus Yahweh overthrew the Mitzrayites into the midst of the sea. And the waters returned and covered the chariots and the horsemen and all the army of Pharaoh. And they came into the sea after them, and not even one was left of them. And the children of Israel walked on dry ground in the midst of the sea, and the waters were a wall to them on their right and on their left. Thus Yahweh saved Israel that day out of the hand of the Mitzrayites. And Israel saw the Mitzrayites dead on the seashore. And Israel saw the great work which Yahweh had done in Mitzrayim. And the people feared Yahweh and believed Yahweh and his servant Moshe. Then Moshe and the children of Israel sang this song to Yahweh and spoke, saying, "I sing to Yahweh, for he is highly exalted. The horse and its rider he has thrown into the sea. Yah is my strength and song, and he has become my deliverance. He is my El, and I praise him, Elohim of my father, and I exalt him. Yahweh is a man of battle. Yahweh is his name. He has cast Pharaoh's chariots and his army into the sea, and he has chosen officers are drowned in the sea of reeds. The depths covered them, they went down to the bottom like a stone. Your right hand, O Yahweh, has become great in power. Your right hand, O Yahweh, has crushed the enemy. And in the greatness of your excellence, you pulled down those who rose up against you. You sent forth your wrath, it consumed them like stubble. And with the wind of your nostrils, the waters were heaped up. The flood stood like a wall, the depths became as stiff in the heart of the sea. And the enemy said, I pursue, I overtake, I divide the spoil. My being is satisfied on them. I draw out my sword, my hand destroys them. You did blow with your wind, the sea covered them. They sank like lead in the mighty waters. Who is like you, O Yahweh, among the mighty ones? Who is like you, great in set-apartness, awesome in praises, working wonders. You stretched out your right hand. The earth swallowed them. In your loving commitment, you led the people whom you have redeemed. In your strength, you guided them to your set-apart dwelling. Peoples heard, they trembled, anguish gripped the inhabitants of Pelishte. Then the chiefs of Edom were troubled, the mighty men of Moab. Trembling grips them, all the inhabitants of Canaan melted. Fear and dread fell on them. By the greatness of your arm, they are silent as a stone, until your people pass over, O Yahweh, until the people whom you have bought pass over. You bring them in and plant them in the mountain of your inheritance, in the place, O Yahweh, which you have made for your own dwelling, the set-apart place, O Yahweh, which your hands have prepared. Yahweh reigns forever and ever. For the horses of Pharaoh went with his chariots and his horsemen into the sea, and Yahweh brought back the waters of the sea upon them, and the children of Israel went on dry ground in the midst of the sea. And Miriam, the prophetess, the sister of Aaron, took the timbrel in her hand, and all the women went out after her with timbrels and with dances. And Miriam answered them, Sing to Yahweh, for he is highly exalted. The horse and its rider has thrown into the sea. And Moshe brought Israel from the Sea of Reeds, and they went out into the wilderness of Shur. And they went 3 days in the wilderness and found no water. And they came to Marah, and they were unable to drink the waters of Marah, for they were bitter. So the name of it was called Marah. And the people grumbled against Moshe, saying, What are we to drink? Then he cried out to Yahweh, and Yahweh showed him a tree. And when he threw it into the waters were made sweet. There he made a law and a right ruling for them, and there he tried them. And he said, If you diligently obey the voice of Yahweh your Elohim, and do what is right in his eyes, and shall listen to his commands, and shall guard his laws, I shall bring on you none of the diseases I brought on the Mitzrites, for I am Yahweh who heals you. And they came to Elim, where there were 12 fountains of water, and 70 palm trees, and they camped there by the waters.
Shalom, this is your friends Kira
and Emma. Today we will be learning about the Red Sea, so let's go. The Red Sea is an inlet of seawater of the Indian Ocean. It is between Africa and Asia. It connects to the ocean in the south. It is the only sea in the world with no river flowing in or out of. It has the warmest seawater in the world. The length of the Red Sea is around 1,900 kilometers, or 1,181 miles. It washes the shores of 8 countries.
There are more than 1,200 species of fish living in the Red Sea. A tenth of them only live in the Red Sea. There are at least 300 species of coral. There are also spinner dolphins, turtles, manta rays, and sharks in the Red Sea. That's all for today.
Bye!
Wow. Did that sound like they were having a party, having a big festival and celebrating? Was that what you were expecting? Maybe you already know this story. So that was a big deal. Could you imagine being one of the children of Israel there stranded with the sea on one side and Pharaoh and his mighty army on the other side coming? Would that be scary to you? Would you be scared? It could really be scary, couldn't it? So there were some things that stuck out to me when we read this chapter. So one of the things is Yahweh already told Moshe that Pharaoh was going to come before he came. Did you catch that? So let's look at the beginning again. And Yahweh spoke to Moshe, saying, Speak to the children of Israel, that they turn and camp before Pi-hahiroth, and between Migdal and the sea, opposite Baal-zephon. Camp before it by the sea. For Pharaoh shall say of the children of Israel, They are entangled in the land, and the wilderness has closed them up. And I shall harden the heart of Pharaoh, and he shall pursue them. But I am to be esteemed through Pharaoh, and over all his army. And the Mitzrites shall know that I am Yahweh. And they did so. So did you catch that? Yahweh had already told Moshe and told him to tell the children where to camp and told him that they were going to come. So I don't know if they were surprised or not. I would think if Yahweh told Moshe this, maybe he didn't tell him all that. Maybe he just told him to go camp here. I'm not sure. But Yahweh at least told Moshe that Pharaoh was going to come after them. Then the heart of Pharaoh and his servants was turned against the people, and they said, why have we done this? Why have we let Yisrael go? And so they made the chariots ready, and he took 600 choice chariots, and then he took his officers, and Yahweh hardened the heart of Pharaoh. And they pursued the children of Yisrael. But the next thing's kind of interesting. It says, but the children of Yisrael went out defiantly. Do you know what that means? So most of the time when someone's thinking of somebody being defiant, it's like with a child when they're being told what to do and they're being defiant and they're not wanting to listen, they're wanting to do their own thing and they're being stubborn about it. So I thought it was interesting that Pharaoh goes to pursue them and it says that the children of Israel went out defiantly. So that sounds like they probably knew that he was coming. Sounds like it to me anyway. All right, let's keep looking. So then the Mitzrites pursue them and overtook them. And when Pharaoh drew near, the children of Israel lifted their eyes and saw the Mitzrites coming up after them. And they were greatly afraid. So now, even though Moshe's already given the warning, hey, we're going to camp here, and Yahweh's told him Pharaoh's coming after them, and the children of Israel went out defiantly, now that they see him coming, now they're scared. They're really afraid. And they cried out to Yahweh, and they said to Moshe, did you take us away to die in the wilderness? This is really important. You're going to watch this with the children of Israel over and over as we continue to read. They just watched Yahweh do mighty works in Mitzrayim, and yet they're thinking Yahweh's just bringing them out to die. Just die in the wilderness, that Moshe just brought them out to die, and they've already forgotten what happened just the night before. Just the night before, not even 24 hours ago, they have already forgotten that Yahweh had shown up and fought their enemies without them ever lifting a sword. That's pretty amazing. And it's kind of amazing that the children of Israel forgot already. But maybe we do that sometimes too. Just in a different way. All right, so they're crying and they're saying, did you take us away to die in the wilderness because there were no graves in Mitzrayim? What is this that you have done to us to bring us out of Mitzrayim? Is this not the word that we spoke to you in Mitzrayim, saying, leave us alone and let us serve the Mitzrites? For it would have been better for us to have served the Mitzrites than to die in the wilderness. All right, so they're saying it would be better for them to still be slaves than to die in the wilderness. But they've already forgotten all of these things that Yahweh just did for them. Yahweh's delivering them over and over and turning the water to blood and bringing the locusts and all these different amazing things that he's done. And they've forgotten it all really, really quick. And Moshe said to the people, do not be afraid. Stand still and see the deliverance of Yahweh, which he does for you today. For the Mitzrites whom you see today, you are never, never to see again. Yahweh does fight for you, and you keep still. That's really, really important. When we're afraid, we need to remember that Yahweh does fight for us, and we should keep still. That we should not be afraid. We should stand still and see the deliverance of Yahweh. See what he's going to do. He's going to stand up for us. Then I think it's kind of funny. Yahweh said to Moshe, why do you cry out to me? Speak to the children of Israel and let them go forward. Could you imagine being there and it's like the water's in front of you and Moshe's just like, go forward. You know, Yahweh says it like you should know. You should just go. And in our minds, that would be a crazy thing to think. Oh, we're just supposed to go forward through the sea. But Yahweh's ways are not our ways. Now, something else that stood out to me. Usually in movies, they have where a column of fire goes from the front to the back. And that's not what it says happened. It says the column of cloud went from the front to the back. And then, this wasn't a quick thing. A lot of times the movies make it quick. It was there for a while. The water was being moved throughout the night. It wasn't something real quick that just Moshe held up his rod, swoop, the water went and everybody went through. It took a little while. And do you know what the purpose with the column of cloud is? Think about it. We're out in the desert where it's hot and it's sunny and they're going to be traveling and they don't have shade. And that column of cloud provides a shade to protect the people during the day. So they can travel during the day and not be too tired and too hot. And then the column of fire provides light so they could travel at night and keep them safe. You oftentimes see in movies where people are out in the wilderness and a wild animal comes up, and so they make the fire bigger because it scares them off. I would think it would help keep them safe that way too, wouldn't you? All right, so then it says, and Moshe stretched out his hand over the sea, and Yahweh caused the sea to go back by a strong east wind all that night. See, it wasn't a quick thing. It took a while. Okay, so then the waters are divided, and the children of Israel are going through, and it took all the way to the morning watch. Then Yahweh confused the army, and he even took off their chariot wheels. This is really funny to me. They're so confused. He took off their chariot wheels, and they're still trying to drive. They're trying to drive through the sea bottom, which maybe it's rocky, maybe it's sandy, who knows, but they don't have any wheels on, and they're so confused they're trying to drive without their wheels on. That's a little crazy, but that's what they were doing. And it says that they drove on with difficulty. Do you think it would be difficult to drive a chariot without any wheels? I think it would be very, very, very difficult. So then Yahweh told Moshe to stretch out his hand and to close up the waters. And he did. And so again, Yahweh fought their enemies. He fought for them, and they never had to lift a sword. They didn't have to have a shield. They didn't have to have a bow and arrow. They didn't have to do anything. And he fought their enemies for them. And that is an amazing story. And Yahweh is there to fight for us too. So when we're scared and we're worried, let's remember what happened to the children of Israel, and remember how quickly they have forgotten what Yahweh did. And let's try not to be like the children of Israel, and let's try to remember all the amazing things Yahweh does in our life, and not lose sight of all the things that he does for us, and not get afraid. Let's remember he fights for us, and let's be still and know that he fights for us. So then it gets to the bottom, and it says, and the people feared Yahweh and believed Yahweh and his servant Moshe. I want you to remember that, because I want you to remember as we continue to read. Let's see what happens to the children of Israel, even though now they believe, and they believe Moshe, and they believe Yahweh, and they fear him. Well, I'm sure that they believed in him and feared him too when he went through the land of Mitzrayim at midnight and took out the firstborns, and how quickly they forgot. Let's see if they continue to forget or if they really, really, really remember. Now, I'd encourage you to go with your family and do some research and find some really cool documentaries like from Ron Wyatt that show artifacts within the sea where the children of Israel crossed. And it shows things like Egyptian chariot wheels and all kind of things that are really, really cool that show that this really did happen. See, we have our book, we have our scriptures, and the scriptures are truth. It's really cool that we can actually see things outside of them show these stories are true and real. So I'd encourage y'all to go watch it. It's really fascinating. Lots of people have traveled to these areas and they've got footage, and sometimes the footage is confiscated because the areas are a hostile area and they don't like foreigners coming in. And some areas are off limits. They won't let anybody go into them. And sometimes people sneak in and get some video footage of different things that prove the scriptures. But there are some that are available that you can see easily. And Ron Wyatt's one that we've seen before that's really, really cool. So I'd encourage y'all to go check that out. All right, let's get going with the rest of our lesson and have some more learning and some more fun, and we'll see you back here in just a little bit.
Hey friends, my name is Miss Delana, and you may know me because I do a lot of our snacks and crafts for Do It, but today I wanted to share with you a song I wrote called My Deliverance. I really hope you like it. Yahweh is my strength and song and my deliverance. He is my El and I praise him. Yahweh is my strength and song and my deliverance. He is my El and I praise him. Elohim of my fathers, I exalt him. He has cast Pharaoh's chariots into the sea, his army and officers in sea of reeds. The dogs covered them and they went down to the bottom like a stone. And in the greatness of your excellence, you pulled down those who rose against. With the wind of your nostrils, you heaped up the waters of the floods. The enemy said, I pursue and overtake them. My being is satisfied when I have destroyed them. But you blew you led your chosen to your dwelling. Yahweh is my strength and song and my deliverance. He is my El and I praise him. Yahweh is my strength and song and my deliverance. He is my El and I praise him. Elohim of my fathers, I exalt him. The peoples heard and trembled. The chiefs of the nations were troubled. And by your greatness they are all silent as a storm. Until your people pass over, the people you've brought and delivered, you finally plant them in the mountain of your inheritance. In the place, O Yahweh, which you have made, for your own dwelling, set up our place, in the place which your hands have prepared. Yahweh reigns forever. Yahweh is my strength and song in my deliverance. He is my El and I praise him. Yahweh is my strength and song in my deliverance. He is my El and I praise him. Elohim of my fathers, I exalt him. Who is like you, Yahweh among the mighty ones? Who is like you, great in holiness? Who is like you, Yahweh among the mighty ones? Who is like you, great in holiness? Who is like you, Yahweh among the mighty ones? Who is like you, Yahweh reigns forever. Yahweh is my strength and song in my deliverance. He is my El and I praise him. Yahweh is my strength and song in my deliverance. He is my El and I praise him. Elohim of my fathers, I exalt him. Shabbat Shalom.
Aleph, Bet, and Gimel, Dalet, Hey, and Vav, and Zayin, Chet, and Tet, and Yod, and Kaf, Lamed, Mem, Nun, Samek, Ayin, Hey, and Sadi, Kof, and Resh, Sin, and Shin, and Tav. Aleph, Bet, and Gimel, Dalet, Hey, and Vav, and Zayin, Chet, and Tet, and Yod, and Kaf, Lamed, Mem, Nun, Samek, Ayin, Hey, and Sadi, Kof, and Resh, Sin, and Shin, and Tav.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. It's Matthew. Today, we learned about the Israelites crossing Yam Suf, which is Hebrew for the Sea of Reeds, also known as the Red Sea. Yam means sea. Repeat it after me. Yam. Yam. And Suf means reeds. Suf. Suf. Yam Suf is the Sea of Reeds. When this story begins, the Israelites are camping Al Hayam. We know Yam means sea, and Hayam means the sea. And the word Al at the beginning is a little tricky, because it can mean many different things. Some of the most common meanings are over, by, and on. So what we need to do is think and figure out what it means here. The Israelites camped Al Hayam. Al, the sea. So, do you think we should use over, by, or on? Does it mean they camped over or on the sea? I don't think so. How about by the sea or next to the sea? Yeah, I think that makes more sense. The Israelites camped Al Hayam, by the sea. Meanwhile, the Egyptians with all of Pharaoh's horses and chariots chase after the Israelites. Horse, in Hebrew, is sus. Sus. And chariot is rehev. Rehev. Moses stretches out his hand, Al Hayam. Al, the sea. Here we have the same word as before, Al. So maybe this means Moses stretched out his hand by the sea. Or, Al could mean something else here, like over. Moses stretched out his hand over the sea. It could probably mean both here, but for now, we'll just say Moses stretched out his hand over the sea. Al Hayam. The waters are divided, and the Israelites walk through the sea on dry land. Let's learn the Hebrew word for dry land, which is Yabashah. Yabashah. And the waters were like a wall on their right and left. Let's learn how to say wall too, which is Choma. Choma. The Israelites passed through the sea, and Moses once again stretches his hand, Al Hayam, over the sea, and the waters come back down, Al Mitzrayim. Mitzrayim is Hebrew for Egypt and can also mean Egyptians. So the waters came back down, Al, the Egyptians. What do you think Al means here? Over, by, or on the Egyptians? Well, I don't think it means by the Egyptians in this story. How about something like, the waters came back over the Egyptians, or back down on to the Egyptians? You can choose what seems best to you. After that, the Israelites sing a song. And let's end today's Hebrew lesson by learning the word for song, which is Shirah. Shirah. And that's all I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed, and that you all have a blessed week. Shabbat Shalom.
Shalom, this is Anaya, and today we're going to talk about one of the discoveries a man named Ron Wyatt discovered. As we see in Exodus 14, Moshe lifted his rod over the sea, and the sea divided into two, and the children of Israel walked through the sea on dry land. And then we see the waters came down upon the Egyptians. Well, Ron Wyatt discovered remaining parts of the Egyptians' chariots at the bottom of the Red Sea, where the Israelites crossed. He found chariot wheels and axles covered in coral. He found one wheel made of gold, where only the wooden parts of the wheel were covered in coral. Ron Wyatt has discovered many amazing things to prove that the Bible is real. He has videos on YouTube where he talks about all of his amazing discoveries. Well, that's all for today. Shabbat Shalom.
Shalom, everybody. My name is Miss Amy, and I am super excited to be back with you again this week. I hope that everybody's having a fantastic Shabbat so far. So, in our story today, we were talking about how Yahweh had parted the Red Sea so that his children could go across on dry land to get away from Pharaoh's army. And I just wanted to confirm with some verses how even in those times where we are really scared, just like they were, we can rely on Yahweh to make a way, even when there seems like there's not going to be a way through. He is able to do all things. Jeremiah 17, 7 through 8. Blessed is the man who trusts in Yahweh, and whose trust is Yahweh. For he shall be like a tree planted by the waters, which spreads out its roots by the river, and does not see when heat comes. And his leaf shall be green, and in the year of drought he is not anxious, nor does he cease from yielding fruit. Psalms 56, 2 through 3. My enemies would swallow me up all day long, for many are fighting against me, O Most High. In the day I am afraid, I trust in you. So even when we are scared of a situation, if we talk to him through that situation, he will give us that shalom, that peace that we are looking for, and he will help and guide us through whatever we are going through. And we are to rejoice in those moments also. Philippians 4:4. Rejoice in Yahweh always. Again, I say rejoice. And in Zephaniah 3:14 through 17. Shout for joy, O daughter of Zion. Shout, O Israel. Be glad and rejoice with all your heart, O daughter of Jerusalem. Yahweh has turned aside your judgments. He has faced your enemy. The Sovereign of Israel, Yahweh, is in your midst. No longer need you fear evil. In that day it shall be said to Jerusalem, do not fear. Zion, do not let your hands be weak. Yahweh, your Elohim, is in your midst, is mighty to save. He rejoices over you with joy. He is silent in his love. He rejoices over you with singing. And I thought that was just such a beautiful verse, that just as we rejoice and we sing to Yahweh, he also rejoices and sings over us. In Habakkuk 3:18, yet I exult in Yahweh, I rejoice in the Elohim of my deliverance. So I hope that these verses in today's scripture story are just helpful reminders that no matter what we are going through, no matter what troubles we can see ahead, that Yahweh can make a way, and that we need only to trust in him and to rely on him during those moments when we are not sure how to get through them. And I pray that you all have a beautiful and wonderful rest of your Shabbat. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, everybody. I'm Micah. Shabbat Shalom, everybody. I'm Josiah. Today we're going to have a fun activity. Are you ready? Yes. Let's go. Let's go.
Okay, today we're going to have an activity where we kind of show a little bit what it was like for Moses to split the water. Now, this is not how it really happened and not how it really looked, but it's kind of fun. So, Micah, would you pour some of that water and fill up that bowl a little bit. You don't have to make it all the way full. Okay, now would you get the pepper shaker and grind up a bunch of pepper onto the water? Do you know how to do it? I think you're going the wrong direction. It's going to be hard to do. There you go. Can you get it? There you go. Now get a bunch on there.
There already is a bunch.
Yeah, let's get some more. I want them to be able to see it really good.
Then I'm going to put this in there and then put it in there.
Okay, let's see. Is that enough? Let's do a little bit more.
Then can I eat some?
Ew.
I like pepper.
Nope, it'll have something in it. Okay, that's good. You can put the pepper down. Alright, now Josiah's got our little Moshe right here. And we're going to pretend this this Q-tip that he has is his walking stick. Now he's going to dip it. Can you dip it? In a little bit of soap, just regular dish soap. We're using 7th generation. Now he's... Uh-oh. Hold on. Whoop, there it goes. Did you see it? So the pepper just split.
Then they walk through.
So this didn't really split the water, but you got to see a cool reaction with the soap to the pepper. And the way that works is soap gets rid of grease and fat, and there is oil in the black pepper. So this is something.
Try?
Well, it doesn't work the second time. Once you've already done it and the soap's in there, you have to make a whole new batch.
Okay. Let's do it. Get it.
You're going to try it again? I don't think it'll work, but you can try it. Now, while he's grinding that up, there's something I want to talk to you about. So everybody always shows on the movies, Moshe touched the water like we just had. But that's not what happened. Let's read what happens. It says, and Moshe stretched out his hand over the sea, and Yahweh caused the sea to go back by a strong east wind all that night. So what happened? Oh, it did work a little bit, didn't it? A little bit. So Josiah, did Moshe touch the water with his walking stick? No, y'all can't see him shake his head. What did he do?
He stretched out his hand from a great wind. Yahweh made a great wind to part it.
Yeah, he stretched out his hand and Yahweh made a great wind part it. Very good. So this is a little cheap, fun little activity that y'all can do at home. And even though that's not exactly what Moshe did, not what happened, it's still cool to watch this effect of the pepper shooting off like that. So let's look at it one more time. Okay, so we're going to let y'all see up close one more time. So we got to dip Moshe into some soap. Did you get it on there? All right, now he's going to touch the water. That's pretty cool.
Let's do it again.
All right, let's get going with the rest of our lesson.
Again!
Again? All right, we'll do it one more time off camera. And we'll see y'all back here in a little while.
When Pharaoh and his armies and his chariots draw near, the sea lies before you, your heart's filled with fear. There's nowhere to turn, to the left or the right, nowhere to run, you're too frail to fight. Be still and watch what Yahweh can do. He can part the sea, and you can pass through. Hey, hey, he can make a way. Hey, hey, so humble yourselves and pray and guard his Torah. Obey each day. There've been times in my life where trouble, turmoil, and strife were the order of the day. Sojourning on my own, never felt more alone, and my best efforts brought this day. Now I walk with Elohim, who brought me out of Mitzrayim and called me out of Babylon. He gets the honor and esteem. He takes me where I could not dream. Then he takes me far beyond. Hey, hey, and he can make a way. Hey, hey, so humble yourselves and pray and guard his Torah. Obey each day. Through Pharaoh and his armies, Yah is esteemed. Through the blood of the Lamb, our lives are redeemed. Hear, O Yisrael, Yahweh, your Elohim is one. You serve only Him, believe on His Son. Yahshua Messiah, the Lamb they did slay, to ransom the children of Yah. He did make a way, hey, hey, and He can make a way, hey, hey. So humble yourselves and pray and guard His Torah. Obey each day. Hallelujah, hallelujah. Hoshiana, Hoshiana. Hallelujah, hallelujah. Yahshua. Lift up your heart and praise. Lift up your hands and praise. Lift up your voice and praise the Ancient of Days. Hallelujah, hallelujah. Hoshiana, Hoshiana. Hallelujah, hallelujah.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. This is Miss Shannon again with a new memory verse for you. This week we have Romim, or Romans 8:31. Let's go ahead and take a look at our verse. What then shall we say to this? If Elohim is for us, who is against us? Romim, or Romans 8:31. Alright, now that we've taken a look at our whole memory verse, I'm going to take a few words out. You fill them in when you're ready. What then shall we say to this? If Elohim is for us, who is against us? Romim, or Romans 8:31. Well done! Now let's try it again. Pause the video if you need more time to fill in the blanks. What then shall we say to this? If Elohim is for us, who is against us? Romim, or Romans 8:31. Awesome! Now I think you're ready to recite your memory verse. Pause the video if you need more time to think about it, and don't worry if you don't get it all right the first time. Just make sure you give it a try. What then shall we say to this? If Elohim is for us, who is against us? Romaim or Romans 8:31. Woohoo! Congratulations, you did it! Now let's chat about this verse. If you were paying even a little attention to our story today, I bet you can guess why I picked this verse. Can you tell your parents how this verse connects to our story? I'll bet you guessed it. Think about how the Israelites felt when they saw the Egyptians were coming after them. They were really scared, they were super frightened. But what did Moshe tell them to do? He said to be still and not fear, because it was Yah that would fight for them. Essentially, that's what this verse is saying too, that we don't need to worry if Yah is for us. So once more, here's your memory verse for this week. Remember to practice it as much as you need. I hope this verse and this Sabbath school have blessed you. Have a wonderful week and Shabbat Shalom.
For this week's snack idea, we have a few things to choose from. One, you could do a column of cloud using cream cheese and kosher marshmallows, and you can stick them together onto some pretzel sticks and have a column of cloud. And you can make a column of fire by using your pretzel sticks and wrapping a cherry fruit roll-up around it. If you don't have a cherry fruit roll-up, you could do something else red, like maybe some strawberries or raspberries or something else. Another cool thing you could do is make a sea parting cake. And you can use lots of sprinkles to equal the thousands of people and animals that were passing through. And what would be even cooler is if you made your own natural blue food coloring. You can make blue food coloring by boiling red cabbage. The red cabbage, as it boils and concentrates, turns purple. And then you add a little bit of baking soda and it turns blue right before your eyes. How cool is that? We have links in the description for all of these recipes. I hope you have fun. Shabbat Shalom.
Dear Yahweh, thank you for the Shabbat and this week. Bless and watch over everyone here today and help others to believe in your word. Thank you for these teachers today and their families. In Yeshua's name, Amen.